I found it tucked inside her favorite childhood storybook. A single, crisp post-it note with a lawyer's name and number, and beside it the words, "Contest the will." In that moment, standing in her old room that still smelled faintly of her perfume, the floor seemed to drop away. The fight wasn't about money anymore. It was about the 40 years I thought we'd had. My daughter Mira was my miracle. We lost her father when she was just a baby, and our little family of two became my entire universe. We didn't have much, but our small flat was filled with love. I worked double shifts as a nurse to give her the opportunities I never had. Every sacrifice was a privilege if it meant seeing her smile. She was a daddy's girl who never got to know her father. Maybe that's why she was always so fiercely ambitious. "Mom, when I'm a big lawyer," she'd say, "I'll buy you a house by the sea. You'll never have to work another day." I'd laugh and tell her her company was enough. Our dreams were simple and intertwined. Life changed when my own mother, Nani Tamira, passed away. She left me her modest house and a small savings account. It wasn't fortune, but it was security. A chance to finally breathe without the constant weight of bills. Mira, by then a successful corporate lawyer, seemed happy for me. She helped with the paperwork, her legal mind a sharp contrast to my grief-addled one. But a subtle chill entered our relationship. She started making comments. "This house is a great asset, Mum, but it's so old-fashioned." Or, "You should let me manage that money for you. I could get you a much better return." I brushed it off as her professional habit, her way of caring. I never imagined it was the first crack in the foundation of our lives. The true fracture came 6 months later. I was planning to use a small portion of the inheritance to finally visit my sister in Canada, a dream I'd put on hold for decades. I was excitedly showing Mira the travel website on my tablet. "Look, the flights are on sale." I was thinking of going next spring. She didn't even glance at the screen. "Mum, that's not a smart use of capital. That money should be working for you. I found a perfect investment property. The deposit would almost exactly cover what you have." I was stunned. "Beta, this is for me. This is my dream." She finally looked at me, her expression one of pure professional impatience. "Dreams are luxuries when you have unproductive assets. This is a solid financial decision. You need to think practically. You need to think practically." The words hung in the air, cold and clinical. My lifelong dream was reduced to an impractical luxury, and my daughter was speaking to me like a difficult client. After that, our conversations became minefields. Every call felt like it ended with a suggestion about asset management or estate planning. The warm, lively house I had inherited now felt like a commodity under constant appraisal. The pressure escalated. She drafted a power of attorney document just for emergencies. She brought over a real estate agent friend to assess the potential of my home. Each time I politely refused, my heart sinking a little lower. My no was met with a sigh, as if I were a child refusing to eat her vegetables. The final brazen move was an email. It was a formal proposal, complete with spreadsheets, outlining how I should transfer the house title to a joint ownership with her, for legal protection and future planning. The attached note read, "This simplifies everything for later. You know I only want what's best for you. What's best for me." I read those words over and over, feeling a nausea rise in my throat. My love and trust were being leveraged in a corporate takeover of my own life. My refusal this time was met with a silence so complete it was a weapon. She didn't call for 3 weeks. The pain was a deep, silent scream inside me. But from that emptiness, a fierce, quiet strength emerged. I would not crumble. I would not have a screaming match. I would protect what was mine with the same quiet determination I had used to build my life. I called Mr. Agarwal, the kind, elderly lawyer who had handled my mother's affairs. I showed him the post-it note. His face grew stern. "This is serious, but your mother's will is ironclad," he assured me. "We can make it even stronger." Together, we took quiet, decisive action. I created a new will, leaving my entire estate to a charitable trust for nursing education, with a small, separate trust for any future grandchildren, bypassing Mira completely. I secured all my financial documents in a safety deposit box. I was no longer just a grieving daughter or a hopeful mother. I was the CEO of my own life, making calm, strategic decisions to safeguard my peace. The confrontation was inevitable. She came over one Sunday, her face a mask of casual concern. "Mum, I've been thinking. We really need to get our affairs in order. I've drawn up the papers for the joint ownership. Let's just sign them and be done with it." I took the papers. This time I didn't pretend to be confused. I read them slowly, carefully, my face neutral. "Mira," I said, my voice calm and steady, "this transfers ownership of my house to both of us." "Why would I do that?" She forced a laugh. "It's for protection, Mum. It's standard. I'm a lawyer, remember?" "I remember," I said, looking directly into her eyes. "I also remember finding this." I placed the yellow post-it note on top of her legal document. "Were you going to contest your Nani's will too?" The color drained from her face. She stared at the note, her composure shattered. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. "It doesn't matter," I said, the sadness I felt finally coloring my tone. "What matters is that I have seen your plan, and my answer is no. My house, my money, my life, they are all secure, and they are no longer your concern." She left without another word. The relationship we had is over. We are civil now, in the way strangers are civil. She is living with the consequences of her own actions. I still live in my mother's house, but now it is filled with my own choices. I volunteer at a local library, and the silence is a comfort, not a burden. This real-life story taught me that sometimes the most painful goodbyes are not to people who leave, but to the people they once were. I didn't lose my daughter. I finally saw her. If this emotional story resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us share more calm reflections on life and family. Subscribe for more real-life stories.